Real football might be over, but the offseason, much like the city of New York, never sleeps. We got coaching changes, free agency, the combine, the draft, and tons more action to cover to get ready for the next NFL season. Who's going to be the next rising star? What new coach is going to have the greatest impact? What free agent is going to take your team from pretender to contender? Let us be the voice of the NFL news. As Coach Mike Dubb, the real AG Alex Givens, young RG Robert Garcia, and yours truly, Coach Defense, break down everything from the NFL offseason right here on the NFL Offseason Blitz. Let's go. You're now rocking with the best, the Hit Squad, live in full effect. All 4 card-carrying members of the Hit Squad. We call ourselves the Hit Squad because all we do is make hits. My guys are here in the building to do our first annual mock draft. It is mock draft season, ladies and gentlemen. We are a little over 2 weeks away from the NFL draft for 2026. It's going to be live and direct, and we're here to bring you our point of view and our educated opinions on who should draft who in the first round of the NFL draft in just over 2 weeks' time. So, without further ado, let me introduce the squad as you are now rocking with
Tuning into the Lockdowndefensesports Network.
first up, him, the man, the myth, the legend himself, degenerate gambler himself, Mr. Over Under, King Parlay, the young Padawan himself, and card-carrying member of the Boat Gang or Don't Bang fan club, young RG, Robert Garcia is in the building. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Young RG is in the building. Right below him, the Mr. Commander's inside of himself is graced us with his presence. From the DMV, Mr. Fall out of bed and drop big views on YouTube. They call him Dub because all he does is win. Coaching, sports talk, and he might steal your girl if you're not watching. President of the We Back Commanders fan club, Coach Mike Dubb is in the building. Coach Dubb's in the building. And certainly, but not last but definitely not least, the real AG himself. Some people claim that they are all good, but none of them are real. The co-host of the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, the trenches guru, Mr. I'm in 10 fantasy leagues and I'm still winning. President of the You Can Hate Me Because You Ain't Me Chiefs fan club. Give it up for the real AG, Alex Givens. Yes, indeed.
Man, I ain't getting no clap.
Indeed, indeed.
You got the air horn.
For the whole squad.
I want the clap.
Hey, be careful what you wish for.
Pause.
Right. That's a good one. That is a good one. I like that. Yeah, definitely careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Yes, indeed. Mock draft season, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to do our first mock draft of 2026. Round 1 through 32. We got 4 members here. We're all picking 1 through 4 all the way down to 32. The way the randomizer broke, and this is the order. So I'm first on the particular aspect. I get to pick the Raiders and the Chiefs. Just the quick breaking news. So as a Chargers fan, I'm loving that.
Yeah, none of us got our own teams in this mock draft, by the way.
Yes, so it worked out. It worked out. We got our rivals, but we didn't get our own teams in this particular gambit. So I go first. The real AG goes second. Young RG goes third, and Coach Mike Dubb goes fourth. And just to give you a quick caveat of this, because again, Mike Dubb is the Commanders insider, AG is the Chiefs insider, RG is the Chargers insider, me, Coach Divas, is the curator of this Lockdown Defense Sports Network. I get to pick the Raiders and the Chiefs. AG gets to pick the Chargers. Dubb gets to pick the Cowboys twice, and RG ironically gets to pick the Commanders. So it's a gambit of things. But
truly testing the bias here.
Yeah, facts.
The unbiased approach.
Indeed. So we're going to prove to you that we are unbiased, fair, and logical analyst here and give you our best synopsis of who we feel like is going to go in these particular picks. So what is going to be the best pick and best value for this team to make this team better for the 2026 season. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to do our PFF draft 1 through 32, like I said. So we're going to give you exactly who's going to go when and where, and you already have the order. Like I said, myself first, AG second, RG third, and then Coach Mike Dell fourth, and we're going to go in that order. So when pick 5 comes up, I'm up, and it just keeps cycling through it until we get to 32. And it's a quick, even number because it's 4 of us, so it should go pretty smooth. So, gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? All right. Let's get it cracking. Let's get it cracking. So here it is. So we got our mock draft simulator set up here, and we're going to get things rolling. And a quick and shameless plug to our Patreon page. If you scan a QR code in the upper left-hand corner of the screen here, that'll take you directly to our Patreon page. We start a Patreon page, our independent platform. We've got live, uncensored, and direct, and really good content over there. Only in that particular platform and exclusively there. You can't get it nowhere else. And trust me and believe me, you want to subscribe now, get in early, because you're definitely going to get some really good content coming in the next few weeks leading up to the draft and the schedule release and get into the training camp. So we're going to bring you live and direct, a lot of content. So get in where you fit in and get in early on the action. For sure, it is definitely worth it. You can even try it out for 7 days to see if you like it, but trust and believe me, we've all said it. You're definitely going to want to stay. So that is definitely that. So scan that QR code today and get in on the action. So let's start round 1. Let's get right into it. So it's interesting to me, you know, I was sitting there sweating bullets who I feel like I was going to pick with the number 1 pick. I mean, you know, if they got Kirk Cousins now, do they really need a quarterback? You know, there's only one good quarterback on the board. I mean, you know, it's who is really the value pick and who was the most Raiders thing to do when you talk about who you should pick in this particular gambit. I mean, let's just be honest. They're going to pick Mendoza. They would be stupid not to. So I'm just not going to waste time with that, you know, not going to do the suspense thing. Everybody know they're taking Mendoza with the 1, even though they have Kirk Cousins for a half a season. That's probably all he's good for. But, you know, it is what it is. So Mendoza goes 1 with my pick at number 1. That's, you know, the most obvious and easy pick for this particular vote. Now, how everything goes from here on out is anybody's guess. So let's talk about it. So with the Jets up at number 2 and on the clock, and their biggest needs are quarterback, wide receiver, edge, and cornerback, according to PFF. Real AG, good sir, what do you think the Jets do and try to save Aaron Glenn's job in 2026?
Yeah. I know I kind of joked backstage of my pick, but I will, you know, put my GM hat on and, you know, pick what I think's best to help Aaron Glenn, and that would be improving their defense, one that was damn near dead last in sacks and did not have a single turnover. So they definitely, you know, for all the faults on the offensive side of the ball, they got a lot of problems on the defensive side as well with the defensive-minded coach. So since, you know, Mendoza's already gone, I'm sure as hell not taking Ty Simpson at 2. If some GM for the Jets, the GM for the Jets wants to do that, consider this my putting my resume in to have his job once that's done. But I think I'm going to take the guy with the highest upside here to, you know, one that's still developing, a raw prospect, but an exciting one that I think could play, you know, really through multi-facets on the defense side of the ball. That's Arvell Reese. So book it.
All right. There you have it. The Jets take Arvell Reese at 2. All righty. So, young RG, the Cardinals, they need a lot as well. They're doing their best rebuilding job over there in Arizona. Quarterback, tackle, D-line, and linebackers, their top 4 needs according to PFF. So what do you say that they do with this pick at number 3? Who is their biggest need?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of follow what PFF is saying here a little bit. They definitely need to address the offensive line, especially given the fact that you're 99% sure taking a quarterback in next year's draft. So you want to already have some protection in place for him so he doesn't just get absolutely trampled. And, you know, you want to set your young guy up for success. And that starts with the guys in front, because ultimately you can find weapons in free agency and even weapons later in drafts. We see tons of running backs and wide receivers come out of day 2, day 3 draft picks. And, you know, they're difference makers. Like obviously Puka was a 5th round pick. Antonio Brown, you can go back far to see some elite talent coming out of the later rounds. So I think with the guys up front, they are you're more likely to miss on them the further down in the draft you go. So I think if you could please go over to tackles for me, sir. Yes, sir. I think you. I think you obviously take the best tackle in the draft, and that is going to be Francis Mauigua out of the University of Florida, or excuse me, University of Miami in Florida. So I know it's a little bit of a reach, but I truly think that you have a great tight end, you have solid weapons, you have a solid running game, 2 good running backs. I think it just makes the most sense to give Jacoby Brissett a little bit of protection. We saw him kind of ball out last year, so hey, you never know. You might upset some teams. I don't think they're a playoff team, just given how difficult that division is, but you can definitely surprise some people next year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole different mindset and new coaching staff over there as well. So they could definitely be doing things much differently in 2026 than the previous regime did. So yeah, I'm definitely with it. I mean, again, you can't go wrong with having a stalwart right tackle. We already got Paris Johnson that left. So yeah, definitely solidifying those tackles would be one of the biggest needs and most glaring needs outside of quarterback to me. So I think that's a slam dunk to me as well. And I can't argue that at all, for sure. All right, so the Tennessee Titans are up next. We got a running back, center guard, edge, and linebacker. Now, I don't agree with the center guard need. I think they're pretty set on the O-line, me personally. I've seen some mocks that said that they go O-line here. But Doug, please tell us, what are you thinking here? What do you think the Titans will do with the new regime? Masala, Dayball and company. What do they do with do they protect Cam Ward, give him a weapon in the backfield, a wide receiver, edge rusher? What do you think they do at number 4?
Yeah, so you mentioned it right on. I think that they have a pretty solid base, at least to build with their offensive line. Cam Ward, for the most part, was able to stay, upright. One thing that wasn't able to happen was he wasn't able to find weapons, or didn't really have a lot of weapons that he, could have used to his benefit last year. So I think that this position in the draft, number 4, of course, you have to slam dunk it. You have to go with somebody that's going to be almost like a can't miss at this position. You have a new quarterback, you have a new brand, new stadium coming, new everything. So they need some excitement in that building, new coaching staff. And what better to solidify that excitement around that franchise than getting probably the most exciting player in this draft at Jeremiah Love. I got them taking Jeremiah Love. The first kind of shake up in the draft, definitely a bona fide weapon for that offense and for that team, not only at running back but also in the passing game. You think about where Robert Saleh is coming from with Christian McCaffrey. He's seen what that that dynamic can look like over there. I think he will have a big play in this offense the same way we look at Bijan, the same way we look at CMC. I think we'll be mentioning Jeremiah Loves in that same breath. So I have him going number 4 to the Titans.
I like it.
Yes,
Good
sir.
pick. I promise you this: if he let him slip to 5, I was taking him. There's no way I was getting past 5, so that's a great pick.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. So yeah, that was definitely a slam dunk. I don't care what Cam Scatterbo does or doesn't do. He can bang his head in the wall. All I care. If Jeremiah Love was at 5 and I'm in the Giants, I'm taking him. So yeah, good pick.
Yep.
Great pick for sure. So again, I'm up again on 5. I actually get to think about this one. It's not a no-brainer. So the Giants are up. Harbaugh's in the house. I still don't like the coaching staff he has under him, Aggie and Roman and those clowns. But he is, a coaching setter, a trend setter. Some turmoil or some rumors with Dexter Lawrence wanting to be traded now. So that could throw a monkey wrench in what they do. But I think that, that withstanding, if they don't garner themselves another first-round pick in this draft by trading Lawrence at any stretch between now and in 2 Thursdays from now, I think that with Jeremiah Love being gone, looking at their roster, I did pick a guard because I was thinking maybe they need a guard because they definitely have a hole at right guard. But rumors have it that Evan Neal is down 20 pounds. He signed one of the cheapest contracts to re-sign with the team ever in history to prove himself. I think they're going to slate him at right guard. They re-signed Luminor at their right tackle who played well for them last year. They have faith in him. So the O-line is pretty much solidified, in my opinion, outside center. They can get that later in the draft. So I think that with a plethora of edge rushers, they've got some corners in the free agency market. I think they got really good safeties out there. I'm not going to say his name because it might trigger Dub, but because he wanted him in free agency last year. But I say you got to go with the best player available in this particular conversation as well. I think you got to go with Sonny Styles in this conversation. I think that really solidifies this defense. Their front 4, front 5, depending on what they run the 34 typically. So him being in that middle of that line and Dexter Lawrence happens to stay, they work out a deal, whatever the case may be, that defense is scary. With Sonny Styles and his freakish athleticism, so you got to go Sonny Styles here at 5 with Jeremiah Love off the board. So I'm going there, and I think that's going to be a really good ad for them, and I think that's a can't miss pick for them as well. I think he's a future all-pro bowler in the making. So we'll see what he does. All right, AG, the Browns are up next, and they need a bunch of things as well. I think everybody in the top 10 needs a bunch of things. I think we can all see that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, so quarterback with wide receiver, guard, tackle, all on the board here. I think it can go two different ways in this particular conversation. So what do you think they do at 6?
Yeah, I mean, it's fallen in a very interesting way, that's for sure. With with the 2 players at the top here that are left, I mean, I think if this is how it goes, they have to strongly consider, potentially pairing someone like that with Myles Garrett. But I think that the plan is, I mean, they're definitely going to address offensive line early because their whole offensive line was pending free agents, and they've signed like 3 guys. So, 4. 4. All right, 4 guys. Yeah. All right, great. But still, it's not 5, and sure as hell, none of them are, surefire things. So, I think here at 6, I'm gonna go tackle, and I'm gonna take Spencer Fano.
Okay.
Maybe not a true left tackle, but I think is very versatile across the line. They don't really have a sure left tackle right now with Dawan Jones, so I think they can kind of see who's the better of those 2, but have their bookends set for, whoever they're going to put at quarterback.
All right. Good stuff. So Spencer Fano go to the Browns at 6, and interesting. I was thinking he might go wide receiver there to give Shador or Deshaun Watson a weapon, but hey,
I thought about that too, but
but I'm still hating because the Browns have completely revamped the O-line in one offseason with that pick that you just solidified the 5 new starters, and they got a whole brand new O-line. The Chargers can't seem to do a damn thing about it, but whatever. But it is.
You just wait till pick 22. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
So well. All right. So
Kicker.
Archie, you're up next. So what do the Commanders do? Please take it easy on Dub. But what do the Commanders do at 7? It's interesting enough. And before you give your take, what do you feel about them saying our running back is the top need here, Dub? With the
I'm so happy you brought this up because I was going to ask him the same exact thing before I even started my rant.
Yeah, what do you think? It's not free and free agency, so why would they need a running back first, especially with Love being off the board already?
I don't agree with that. And in my case, the only running back we will be bringing in would be Love. Just because if we felt like we couldn't pass on him, I would never be mad at that. But I don't think there's anybody left in free agency that I would want. There's nobody left with the trade based on our backfield. I think we definitely are sustainable. I'm assuming that they had that there, with the thought that Love was going to be available.
Okay.
And it's just, that's all I'm assuming. But if it's not Jeremiah Love, it's not a running back at all.
Okay, there you have it. All right, RG, let us know what you feeling like in Commanders land for pick number 7.
So I feel like there's 2 ways we can go here. You can either say that Jaden is dynamic enough that he doesn't really need high-powered offensive talent around him. And we did see him go to the NFC Championship game with pretty little wide receiver talent and receiving talent around him in general. Obviously have Terry McLaurin. Obviously have Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, who's a bona fide number 1. I also thought potentially here, with the departure of Marshawn Lattimore, that they could go cornerback in this situation. And Mansour Delane is sitting right there. And so I thought, you know what? I think Jaden can handle his own. I'm going to go with Mansour Delane because in that division alone, you have CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Malik Neighbors. I mean, that's just in your division alone. You're seeing those 5 guys 2 times a year, not to mention the other elite talent in the NFL. So they did take Mike Sainristil last year with that second round pick. I think pairing Delane with him, who's just a bona fide number 1 shutdown, by far the best corner in this draft. I think that defense for a pass defense last year that was 4th worst in the NFL. I think it would really solidify and kind of bring Washington back into the playoff fold, perhaps.
You know, Dub wanted Caleb Downs in that pick. You know that, right?
I just, man,
He
I
knows.
truly think the medicals are going to scare so many teams off of him. And I don't know if I think Delane is just a more sure
Oh, he's
option.
definitely a third bet. I mean, you can't go
Yeah,
wrong
he's a
either
beast.
way. You can't go wrong either way. And he turned out a 4.38 40 at his pro day, just to solidify it even further, as if his coverage skills weren't lethal enough. Yeah. You know, we getting Patrick Surtain comps him coming out of college. So yeah, I definitely think that you can't go wrong with either one. But you know, Dub needs that Nick
I know.
What's the tweet reaction, Dub? What are we quoting with this?
Yeah.
You know, is this a
Al
hell
Hamilton,
nah?
Swiss Army knife safety in Washington. That's what he wants. I know that. I know that for a fact. Yeah. So yeah,
Mike, can we get a quick rating 1 out of 10 on this?
You know, it's a defensive position. It's a defensive pick, so I don't hate it. I do agree he's probably the best corner in the draft, so I wouldn't hate it, but I would just bother me. Like I said last year, it bothered me watching Nick do his thing, knowing that we had a chance to get him. I think this would just bother me knowing that we had a chance to get Caleb.
Okay.
Do the medicals scare you at all?
You know, a little bit, but not. It's one of those things where I can live with us picking the right guy, and there was nothing we can do because of injuries. I can live with that. At least you know, there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I mean? I can't live with just a busted pick, which I don't think Delane would be at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just like I said, watching Nick go to the Super Bowl, have the year he had,
Right.
and then watching the exact hole that we had on defense was what he was. It's just playing in the back of my mind. So I'm thinking always take the best player available, plug and play him, you know. But to answer your question, the medicals, they don't scare me as much as, you know, because you can't really do anything about it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. All right, Dub. So let's take a trip down to New Orleans. Let's eat some beignets and let's talk about what the Saints do at pick 8. And the top 3 needs for them was wide receiver, D-line, and linebacker. I think they're all glaring needs in all 3 of those categories. So what say you about what the Saints do at pick 8?
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me, especially given the guys that are left on the board. You know, it's a lot easier when people make it easy for you.
Right.
You talked about, you know, the D lineman, obviously. I look at a guy like Ruben Bain, who, in my opinion, is you know, probably one of the most, if not the most disruptive guy in this draft on that D line. He's versatile. You could move him around. You know, of course, it would be nice to team him with some of the other guys that they've had. They've drafted some D linemen in the past, and I think Brian Brees was one, and some other guys that you know really is kind of been inconsistent for him. So that's one way that I'm thinking. And then the other way that I'm thinking, obviously, is on the offensive weapon side, you know, giving Olave some help, and of course, giving that young quarterback some weapons, and of course, being that their head coach is an offensive guy. I think we saw some good things from Tyler Shuck. I think that, you know, I'll probably be leaning towards going offensively, and in my opinion, the best receiver in this draft is actually Carnell Tate.
All right.
So yeah, I say they go Carnell Tate, another Ohio State guy. You can't really mess with a Ohio State receiver. So, you know, high upside for them. I say they go him, give him another weapon, and team him up with Olave.
Okay. Now we had a conundrum here at 9 because there's a bunch of different ways that the Chiefs could go. Clearly, you know, the AG's dream of Jeremiah Love is gone for a few
right.
picks.
I'm off that train. The minute he ran that 4.32, I was like, yeah, he's not making it to 9. So.
right. So yeah, so they could go. I've seen some mocks of Ruben Bain going to them at 9. I've seen some mocks where Carnell Tate, who just would have picked before them, falls to 9, and you know, pairing them up, giving Patrick Mahomes another bona fide number 1 receiver. You know, it's definitely a bunch of things they could do in this particular conversation. But I do believe it by them trading McDuffie, the most glaring need would be corner. But you know, knowing Spagnuolo and knowing what he likes to do on defense, and the fact that Caleb Downs didn't get picked in Washington, I think the best and most brightest thing the Chiefs will probably do would be to pick Caleb Downs at 9. So I'm gonna take Caleb Downs to go to the Chiefs at number 9. and give Spagnola another Swiss Army knife-like weapon that he can move all around the field and have fun with, and just give him that guy that nobody knows what he's going to do on any given play. I love Spagnola's schematics, so he's definitely going to do that with Caleb and be happy about it. So yeah, Caleb Downs go to the Chiefs at 9. What do you think, AG?
Damn. No, I love that pick. I mean, I think it's Bain, maybe Bailey, I guess, if it falls this way or down. I mean, with Tate and Love gone, I mean, those are the two glaring needs. So I'm down with that for sure. Although you just took my pick, so
okay.
Thanks.
Fair enough.
You still got Kenneth Walker.
True. Well, I mean, I think I took his pick regardless. He's going to take Downs with a pick 10. I think that was going to be the deal.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought David Bailey, but I like. Okay, you got what's your boy name? Well, Karlaftis. You got Karlaftis. You're paying him. And there's a more glaring need at safety than it is at edge. So I think that with the fact that they need a more so Swiss Army knife safety, I think they go that route. That was my thinking in that.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm with it.
So you're up now with the Bengals. So what did the Bengals do at 10?
Yeah, I was fully sitting here prepared to go give my spiel as to why I was going to take Caleb Downs, and then now we got to pivot. But I mean, Bengals got a lot of needs, that's for sure. They just lost Trey Hendrickson, so why don't we replace that production with someone that they can be cheap AF with for at least 5 years until we start that saga all over again. Out of the two, I'm taking Ruben Bain. I agree with Dub. If people want to knock on his reach, but you just watch that guy's tape, like he is the most disruptive edge rusher in this draft. So for them to get him after losing Hendrickson, I mean that's the most surefire way to replace that loss, in my opinion.
I agree. So. I like the pick. Okay. All right, RG, let's take a trip to Miami real quick. Let's see what the Dolphins and their new regime is going to do at 11.
You want to talk about a team that needs a lot, Coach?
Man, talk about fire sale.
This team needs every damn position.
Practically, yeah, practically.
I mean,
who's their best player? Like, who is their best player right now? Is it A-Chain?
Oh yeah.
A-Chain,
no, it's by far it's A-Chain.
Okay, all right, just checking.
So this one's a bit tough because, like I mentioned, they could truly go anybody here. They just need everything, man. So when you need everything, it's always nice to try to get a blue chip player at an elite position. And the last one remaining is, of course, David Bailey, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech.
I like it.
If you're gonna pick somebody when you're in a full rebuild and you're in the most full of rebuilds possible, you're gonna want to go at one of those prime positions. And even if you're not good enough to the point where eventually he wants out, like you can still potentially trade him if he ends up being as good as he is for some pretty good assets. So I think this is just overall good pick for the Dolphins, and hopefully, speaking in Dolphins terms, hopefully a step in the right direction, because man, this is a dumpster fire if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, if I can loosely quote Tropic Thunder, you never go full rebuild.
Yeah, there you go.
And they went full rebuild.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, you never go full rebuild, but that's what they're doing. So they tore it down to the studs, and they got to build it back up from the ground. So David Bailey's your cornerstone. Let's go, Halfley. Let's get it done. All right, Dub. So you get to pick your rival teams here. Pick here in at a 12. So what do they do with their glaring holes on the defense? What do they do at 12?
Yeah, this is another team that when I looked at the first thing I looked at is what holes do they have to fill, and you mentioned it defensively. Linebacker, I saw they could have filled, so I'm sure they were hoping that one of those Ohio State guys fell to them. Edge was another one that they could have used. But I see this team last year. I watched them in a lot of different shootouts. Of course, they got that firepower on offense. So, of course, the next best thing would be to make sure that you have some guys that can lock up and stop that. So, for them, I think their best bet in this position, basically how the board fell, I would be going with Jamal McCoy from Tennessee.
Okay.
And locking up that corner position.
I like it. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So now the Rams are on the board, and it's funny because I think RG made a reference about fifth round wide receivers, and he happened to name fifth round picks that are head cases.
True.
Legit. 2 fifth rounders that are head cases. And most people have the Rams doing the boring thing, and with like Havenstein, I believe he retired, and they got a issue at tackle. But with this particular issue with Puka, Devontae's getting older. There's been rumors they might even deal him at some point before his contract runs out. I think that they go weapon here instead of going tackle to fill that void. And I think with a deep tackle draft, they can probably pick up a really good serviceable guy in the second or third round. So I think they got to get themselves a bona fide slot, assuming Puka's out of rehab by the time the season starts. And they take Mekhi Lemon. I think they take Mekhi Lemon and give them 3 really good receivers for Stafford to throw to, and let that offense just be more dynamic and more unstoppable for the 2026 season, and kind of rectify what they missed out on in the 2025 season. So I'm taking Mekhi Lemon.
I was doing my Mekhi look.
Yeah, there it is.
I just like to go out there.
I mean,
I can't even do it.
Because everybody that has a one of those signature moments, George Pickens staring at the TV, Mekhi Lemon staring at the media, they're all head cases, but they're productive, right?
Hey,
so at least for the first part,
you want a wide receiver to be a little crazy,
a little bit,
especially a slot guy.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
come on.
Going
through the middle. Taking all those brutal hits from people like me. Yeah,
something's not fully wired correctly.
It is not. Oh, what happened? Okay.
Oh, my bad.
I'm trying to get solo.
All right. The floor is yours, Dub. All right.
There you go.
Objection.
There
That's what he's doing.
Right. All right. Okay. So we got Mekhi Lemon off the board at 13. So what do the Ravens do at 14 with the new regime of Mincer and company in Baltimore, with Lamar showing up to voluntary workouts, slow motion videos on Twitter, new things happening in Baltimore. So what do they do at 14, AG?
Yeah, this is they could pivot a lot of ways because it is. For the most part, it's a pretty complete roster. It's not like they have a whole lot of huge glaring needs. I agree with the needs they've noted. They've always needed a true wide receiver. But I think the rest of those, like they got pieces in place that it's not like necessarily anything that must be addressed. So I think they can kind of go with what they, where they want to pivot to and have their pick of that. But since you just took Lemon, I was kind of prepared to go wide receiver. I think you just started a little run.
Okay.
So we're going to give Lamar, albeit a little bit of a guy with some red flags, but he is a dog at receiver when healthy. I'm going to take Jordan Tyson and give him, a bona fide number 1 guy, so he doesn't have to keep rolling with Devontrez Walker. And I didn't say that man's name right. That's tell you enough. Yeah, the Kringleberry and
Jackson tricks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, so get the bona fide number 1 finally, and go with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. I like it. Derrick Henry in the backfield. I definitely like what they're building in Baltimore if they do that for sure. Good pick. All right, RG. So what do the Buccaneers do to save Todd Bowles' job at 15?
Yeah, they definitely got to fix that defense. So I think I don't agree with tight end. They did re-sign Cade Otton. Granted, they have some other solid receiving options and a great running back in Bucky Irving. They could go guard here. Obviously, the big guard, the top projected guard in this draft class, Ioane out of Penn State, could be a move here. But that defense absolutely needs to be addressed. And like we were talking about with the Dolphins, that starts at the front 7 and ultimately with your edge rushers. So potentially a little bit of a reach, but it is a very deep edge rushing class. I'm going to go with Akeem Mesidor out of the University of Miami. Obviously, Reuben Baines' teammate. I just think that it's a position of need. The defense suffered. It was the biggest reason why that team ultimately fell off and ultimately missed the playoffs. So, like I mentioned, I think the offense is pretty set. I think the O-line is solid enough that you don't necessarily need to go guard here, and you get a top tier edge rusher.
I like it. Yeah, and I don't think they've had a good edge rushing group since the Super Bowl run, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So that's a
Since
great pick.
Jason
Not
Pierre-Paul
since Shaq
and
Yeah,
yeah.
But Shaq Barrett was balling. That was
yeah,
it.
Shaq Barrett. Yep, exactly. So yeah, it's been a while. So they definitely can use Akeem Mesidor right here, right now, to solidify that room for sure. Okay. All right, Dub. So what did the Jets do at 16 and rounding it out with a second first round pick of the NFL draft in 2026?
Yeah, so sorry, this was a tough one. Obviously, I look at them, and the first thing that you think of when you think about the Jets last year, outside of quarterback situation, which I guess you can say they addressed with Geno, sure.
Right.
But
Yikes.
outside of that, yeah, right.
We can lead
Outside
him
of
to the
that was
promised land, man.
yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Full circle.
Yeah, but I think the other glaring thing on that roster or about that team last year was the fact that they didn't get any interceptions. So, of course, what did they do in the offseason? They got out, and I think they got the person who led the NFL in interceptions, and Nashawn Wright.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, they definitely tried to address their defensive secondary. At this position, based on how the board fell, I think that they would probably go best available between wide receiver or corner. Obviously, they took their edge rusher and Arvo Reese already. So based on how this board fell, go to wide receiver for me.
Hmm.
There's a okay, and then go to corner.
All right. I believe Colton Hood. Adrian Terrell is top.
I think I would go with Avian Terrell at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a solid corner. Like I said, they have to do something about that defense and getting some type of turnovers. Obviously, they brought in Minka Fitzpatrick as well. But other than that, it's a lot of question marks in their secondary. So I would go ahead with Avion Tyrell, get him on the opposite side of Nashawn Wright, and try to get something cooking in that secondary.
Yeah.
sir.
Double down on the idea of trying to get an interception in this 2026 season. Yeah, it's a good pick. It's a good pick for sure. For sure. Okay.
Yeah. And once again, that's 2 picks in the top 20. Arvo Reese is the one that they really nail. If either Tyson or Carnell Tate or one of the big 3 wide receivers, I say between Mekhi Lemon as well. If one of them are available, I think they would have taken him. But given this, Terrell is the guy.
I like it. Okay. All right, the Lions are up, and they, got some shuffling they going on at tackle here. They let Taylor Decker go, which I still don't understand why he's a free agent still, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Taylor Decker is a free agent, and they're talking about moving Penny Sewell to his natural position of left tackle. So I think they're in the market for another tackle, being they made that move. It's kind of a obvious whistle of what they want to do. So I'm taking Monroe Freeland from Georgia with just to get it done, rebrand my tackle room, and get that done early and quick, and keep Jared Goff upright. And we don't have any issues with his protection, because we know he gets scary if he's not protected. So it gets a little ugly for sure. So they got to do it. It doesn't matter what other needs you might have, edge or that, or whatever the case may be. If they don't have their tackle solidified, they have nothing. Detroit, or Detroit, as Captain Jack calls it. Detroit Leon.
Detroit.
So yeah, Detroit Leon. So yes, they get a tackle in Monroe Freeland, because he slipped.
Unit.
Yeah, that he is. He slipped because I think he would go to the Rams, and the Rams weren't shaky at wide receiver with Puka in rehab. So I think they'll just have to hand that card in early, and it'll be an easy pick for them. All right, AG, what did the Vikings do at 18? I got a feeling I know what they should do, but what do you think they do?
Yeah, so I think their biggest need is center, for sure. They don't have I can't remember who I covered it in the videos. I can't remember who they've signed, but they definitely need to find a starting center. Sure as hell not doing that at pick 18.
Yeah.
But I think just given that that's their biggest need, how this board fell, I think they picked that safety Dylan Thieneman.
Yep.
Because right now, I mean, Harrison Smith is deciding if he's playing or not. I think I picked – he was my perfect pick for them in our video because, like I said, they need to – whether he plays or not, they need to start addressing the future with that. That guy has been a staple for their defense for a long time. Thieneman provides a lot of the same skill set, and is much younger. So they get their heir apparent, or if Harrison Smith decides he's done, they got their replacement. So I think that's the pick to make there.
Obvious pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right there in your face. You got to take him.
Yeah.
You know,
I was just looking like, please don't go. I don't know where I'm going to go if that happens.
Right. Well, they got, I mean, Emmanuel, the kid from Boston, he's another going. So, yeah. But, yeah, great pick. I like that pick as well. So, this is an interesting one at 19, RG. What did the Panthers do at 19? It could go a lot of different ways. Center's a need, but like you said, I don't think you pick a center this high. Wide receiver, potentially. We don't know what Xavier Leggette's going to be. They got a bona fide one to Ted McMillan. Tight end has always been a bugaboo. They haven't really had a tight end since Greg Olson. D-line, edge. Well, they were down the edge last year, so I don't think they need that. And they signed Jalen Phillips in free agency. I don't think that's a need. So maybe interior D-line to pair up with Derek Brown. So what do you think they do at 19 here?
Yeah, I was actually kind of like Dylan Thieneman coming to the Panthers. I thought that would have been a really solid move there. But we have to pivot. Yeah, we have to pivot. And I did say kind of before the picks came, looking at who was left on the board, I'm like, well, the Panthers better get somebody from Oregon. And in this case, it's going to be the tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. I think you just have to give Bryce Young more weapons, give him more chances to succeed. And, I mean, he showed you a lot last year for what it's worth. Now, granted, he was a number 1 overall pick, so the expectations are much, much higher than just simply making the playoffs. With the number 1 overall pick, you want to be contending for that division. Granted, they did win the division, but I don't think many people really consider that a true division win. I'm sure it was a bit of a fluke. I'm sure they consider it. Yes. Seriously. You're not wrong about that. Right. I just think that he can really take this offense to the next level. He's still got Chuba Hubbard there. Obviously, like I mentioned, Ted McMillan. And the outside wide receiver Xavier Legette. So I really do think even Jalen Coker was another guy who really impressed them last year. He balled out last year as well. So I think if you just throw Kenyon into that mix, man, this offense really has a chance to take off next year.
Sadiq the Freak in Carolina. I love that pick, man. That is some Vince Carter. That's my bad. What I say?
Sadiq the Freak.
Well, that's what he
is a freak. Your dirty mind just went somewhere else with that.
Hey, that's what he called him. That's his nickname. So
he ran a 4.340. All right, he's a freak.
Fair. That's fair.
At 240 pounds.
He's a freak. It's the fastest kid alive.
So you haven't seen that type of freakish athleticism since Randy Moss with that type of size and weight.
Yeah,
running the tight end position. So that is some Vince Carter through the legs, arm through the hoop shit, slam dunk pick. I love that. That is a great pick as well. All right, Dub. So picking your rival again. So what did the Cowboys do again with their second first round pick at 20?
Yeah, this is another one. So let me just say this: if I'm, the Chargers, I know you guys are looking to upgrade the offensive line. This is when I would start to make that call to move up, if they hadn't already. So if I'm Dallas, honestly, I would probably, try to entertain a trade just because I know that there are some teams that will want to, go after that interior offensive line, which in my opinion is probably the best left on the board. But unfortunately, it's not a need for them. So if they had to stick with that pick, I have an idea of what would shake things up, but you know what? This might be a little, and actually, it's not really a shakeup. I'll go with need, and this probably is a little bit of a reach for them, but I think that he's a guy that it's a linebacker position. I thought that he had a pretty down year last year, but his upside is tremendous. From Texas, Anthony Hill, inside linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, I think this might be a little bit of a reach for them. Like I said, if I'm them, I probably would trade back, and they probably would get an opportunity to get him. But in my opinion, from what I saw, he's one of the better linebacker products. I'd love to hear Coach Defense's ideas on him. But based off of need, I think this is a good pick for them. Anthony Hill, I don't know why he slipped so far in PFF. I don't trust PFF anyway, but the other rookies I saw him a little bit higher than that. And I think that based off of need, once again, focusing on their defense and tightening up some of those holes on defense, I think he could really be a guy that can help him out.
That is a shocker. That is a shocker.
I don't know why he's so low.
I mean, on many fronts, because I'm looking at it. But they got the D tackles, they got the edges. Linebacker makes definitely a need. But safety is one as well. I might have gone with the kid
Neil Warren.
From Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo. Yeah, I might have went with him.
Toledo.
But the fact that you reached past Jack Rodriguez when we talked about him, C.J. Allen, Jack Rodriguez, even just Carter to go to Anthony Hill Jr. But that is a Cowboys move. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I would have took Jack Rodriguez, but in my opinion, but that's I had no knock against Anthony, but I think I could have got him in the third round, honestly. Based upon how people view him.
Which is still crazy to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But it's quite a few. And I talked about this in my sleeper video on Patreon. Shout out to that. Linking up here in the upper left-hand corner. But there's a couple of guys that are going to be day 3 picks are going to be starters, and they're going to come out of nowhere, and they're not going to really understand exactly how dominant they're going to be until they hit the field. And they're going to be like, well, damn, I got this guy with a 4th or 5th round pick, and he's a stud out the gate. So, so that could be one of those things. They could be looking at it, and this is definitely a Jerry Jones type pick. Like, just clear left field. Nobody thinking Anthony Hill's going to go anywhere on day 1 or day 2. And he lands day 1, first round at pick 20. So,
we knew we wanted Anthony since day 1.
Exactly.
Called my grandson at Texas, said he's a hell of a man.
And he played at Texas, so he act like he's in my backyard, so I had to take him. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just curious, if you guys are Chargers, would you guys try to move up?
I mean, if the draft fell like this, hell no, you stay put. I mean, at this point now, if the draft fell like this, you're guaranteed to get one of the top 2 guards in the draft, whether it's Ioane or Pregnon. So if this happens exactly like how we're calling it, 1,000% you're staying put.
Oh yeah, 100% agree, because you can't go wrong with Ioane or Pregnon.
Nope.
I think Pregnon, I'll sleep well.
Yeah, I mean they are both massive upgrades over Cole Strange.
You think that's what we're doing?
Gosh.
Just wait.
Oh God!
I'm the captain now.
Don't tell me Tom Telesco's still in that front office.
He look a little like Telesco right now. I don't know.
No, man.
Yeah, I don't know. So the Steelers at pick 21, and we don't know. I didn't rant and rave about Aaron Rodgers and this diva mentality. So we don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback. We just don't know. In all honesty, I'm looking at it from a perspective. They have a few needs. They do. But it's not a lot of glaring holes. They have a pretty solid roster. You got Michael Pittman now. You got DK outside. This very serviceable tight end. They have in Freiermuth. O-line is pretty solid. But it'd be interesting to see. If they really do. They have a handshake agreement with Aaron like they had last year, so they kind of just balking on the conversation. But I'm not banking on that. And I'm gonna shake it up too. Since Anthony Hill went on 20. I'm shaking it up too, and I'm going quarterback with the 21st overall pick. And I'm taking Ty Simpson. I'm taking it. I'm drinking the Dan Orlovsky Kool-Aid, and I'm thinking that Mike McCarthy can make his kid into a bona fide starter. And I'm going the Kenny Pickett route and picking in the 20s with another quarterback just a few years later. And I'm picking Ty Simpson out of Alabama to solidify my quarterback room, because we talked about it on the Hit Squad Unfiltered, another Patreon show. Again, shameless plug. But we talked about it. I said, even if they do have Aaron for a year, you can still groom Ty Simpson to be the heir apparent, and he can sit and wait for a year, and you can really groom him into being an NFL quarterback with a year's sitting. So you don't have to throw him out there right away to the fire. It works 100%. Out perfectly. Yeah. So I'm taking Ty Simpson at 21. I'll give them what Aaron Rodgers does, but that's just me. All right, AG. So go ahead and break our hearts. What are Chargers doing at 22 here?
Nah, I was just playing. I mean, this fell perfectly for the Chargers. You guys have been saying it all off season, what the number one need is, and it's right in their laps now. So I'm taking big dog Ioane from Penn State.
Let's do it.
Guard. You don't have to start Cole Strange, and all is well.
Yes.
I don't know why the hell wide receiver is listed as our number one need.
I'm saying,
what are they doing?
Obviously,
PFF likes to put that in edge on every team.
It's like they did.
Safety?
Yeah.
What is
I don't know. We got 4 safeties already. We have 4 safeties on the roster already. Why the hell would we need a safety?
Oh my god,
that don't make any sense at all.
This is hilarious.
I don't think they look at the roster. I think they just guess.
Yeah.
Just guess.
Well, in Madden, you need wide receivers and edge. So
right.
Have enough those.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, RG, what did the Eagles do at 23 with Kenyon Sadiq off the board? Because that's what everybody was mocking him to. I don't think anybody did not have Sadiq falling to them at 23. So, what did they do here? So, what is the pivot move for the Eagles?
Yeah, I think after he had that combine, I think a lot of people were projecting him there, and then he had that combine, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's not happening.
He's not making it far.
He's gonna go way earlier than 23.
There you go.
The Eagles really can go a myriad of ways here. I truly think they're gonna trade out of the first round. I think that
would be a Roseman move. Yes, it would.
That 100% would be a Roseman move, but similar to Mike with the Cowboys, if you're staying pat, they do. I mean, one thing I do kind of agree with, they do have a need at safety following the departure of Reed Blankenship. So with McNeil Warren right there, I don't think you think twice about it. I think you take him and you run with it, and you pair him with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. And I think that secondary goes from scary to just downright terrifying. And like we mentioned, talking about that division full of wide receivers, yeah, I think the Eagles, if they were to stay pat, would be very happy with it.
Damn, that's unfair because they got Rick Woolen in free agency as well. So you got Rick Woolen, Gene, Quinyon Mitchell, and Warren. Oh my God, yeah. Good luck throwing on them. That's all I can say.
Oh Lord,
good luck. Lord. Yes, indeed. All right, the Browns up next, Dub. What do they do at 24 with all the glaring needs that they need? So what do we take with the first pick? What do they take, a tackle or a wide receiver?
Tackle.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Final with the early pick. So what do they do with pick 24?
I think they give Shador a big body receiver. I'm going to go with Denzel Boston.
I like it. It's a good one.
Wow.
Okay. That's a good one. Definitely, they got a big glaring need at wide receiver. I don't even know who the hell is their wide receiving group right now. I can't even tell you. That's how
Tillman,
bad.
Judy.
Judy.
That's it.
So,
that guy from Texas, Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They did get Bond after he bonded out.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah. So, okay. Fair enough. All right. So, yeah, but Dawson definitely goes to the top of the ladder in that group already because Judy can't catch. Bond's still developing. Yeah, I'm definitely putting Denzel Boston outside at my number one, and I'm sleeping well. And ironically enough, they fixed the O-line. They got Boston. They got Fanning and Quinton Juggins in the backfield. No matter who the quarterback is, they got a way better situation offensively than they did last year. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I like it. Okay. All right. So the Bears up next with me at 25, and they got a bunch of glaring needs as well. Funny enough, I had a couple of people arguing with me while I was on vacation. For some reason, I don't know why I get up and get in sports conversations or arguments with people no matter where I go. It's like it's written on my forehead that I'm a sports analyst. But nobody believed me that they needed an edge rusher in Chicago. Nobody believed me in that conversation. I don't know why.
They almost traded for Max Crosby, so I think that would tell you. They almost traded like multiple picks for Max Crosby. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I think despite the need at center with Dahlman retiring, I think you don't do that this early. Yeah, like we said earlier, D-line is a need. But red flags with some of these guys on the board, especially the top guy, Caden McDonald, in his conditioning conversation. So they could do that. Or Caleb Banks is probably the more slam dunk guy. But I think pass rusher to pair somebody with Montez when you can't pass on. So I'm going Keldrick Falk here. Edge rusher from Auburn, and I'm solidifying that room on both sides. And I'm getting after the quarterback in Chicago, man. That's what I'm doing. And giving Caleb more bites at the apple, getting people off the field. I'm doing it. Getting cheap and young and productive at the edge rusher spot at 25, and I'm sleeping well on that one. So, yeah. All right, AG, the Bills are up on 26, and are they going to trade their picks to y'all again this year? That's typically the first
maybe.
They
just may.
Or y'all trade up and they trade back and they take the guy y'all wanted anyway.
Right.
So what do they do at 26 here with their pick?
Yeah, this is I think they kind of I could see them ultimately moving just because of the trade they made for DJ Moore, try to recoup some more sense. Draft picks later, but I think I'm going to take Omar Cooper Jr. here and just solidify their wide receiver room.
That's twice, Alex.
I like it. That's a good pick.
I really wanted to take CJ Allen, but I think if they go linebacker, they need more of a coverage guy than what Allen is. I mean, he's a hell of a linebacker, but he's more of a run stuffing type guy in the middle. So I didn't want to do that. I think maybe they try to get like a Kyle Lewis or Jacob Rodriguez later, someone that could replace Matt Milano. But I think with just how the board went, might as well just pair someone else with DJ Moore and actually give Josh Allen some wide receivers that aren't named Keon Coleman, since they absolutely dumped on that young man.
Yeah, he's persona non grata in Buffalo. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
dude. Yeah.
That is for sure. I
He's
don't
on
know
the
why.
list.
He's definitely on the list though. And so you didn't look at it, revamp your whole receiving core in one draft, like Cooper, Moore, and Khalil Shakir with those tight ends and that running back and that low line. Yeah, Josh Allen.
They better win. They got to win it all. No
Gotta do it.
excuses there.
And Joe Brady, good luck, my friend.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. All
Sorry,
right,
RG.
RG, you're up next at 27. And of course, our AGs loves to steal your shine. But so what do the 49ers do here at 27 to help bolster their roster?
Yeah, I would have loved Omar Cooper Jr. here. I think he would have been a perfect number 2 option opposite of Ricky Pearsall, just giving Purdy more weapons to work with. So if you're not going to give him a best friend and a new toy to play with in the receiving room, I think the next best thing is to give him some protection up front. And I think Caden Proctor is a perfect spot for him here. They are obviously trying to plan for life post Trent Williams, who has
Great point.
Without a doubt been, one of, if not the best and most consistent left tackle of this generation of the 2010s into, the 2020s even. And the thing I like about Proctor as well is some people kind of have him projecting that he doesn't have quite the size to play at tackle. Well, the good thing is that if they do end up kicking him into guard, that's also a pretty good need as well, and another position to fill on that offensive line. You still, for all intents and purposes, I believe, are going to have Trent Williams this year. Probably. At this point, he's still on the roster. So even if you kick Proctor into guard, you can address left tackle if he chooses to leave, or when he inevitably leaves in the next draft or so forth.
Can you imagine the left side of the line being Trent Williams and Caden Proctor on one side of the freaking football?
Christian McCaffrey will be happy.
That's like damn near 800 pounds.
They're running to the left.
And they're both athletic as.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caden Proctor is an athletic specimen. He's like Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, he's 2 units, not just one, but 2. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. All right, Dub. So the Texans are at 28, and they've done themselves a solid in free agency. I don't know how the hell they keep doing this, but they didn't trade for somebody today. They traded for a linebacker today. They was going to cut him, but they ended up trading for him. So they got another depth piece in linebacker to add to their already stout roster. And they revamped their O-line in offseason. Another shameless plug to what the Browns and the Texans have done completely in one offseason, got better in every facet of their O-line. So what do they do at 28? Seems like a luxury pick at this point, but what do they do?
Definitely a luxury pick for them. I don't see them really touching that defense. I don't see a lot of holes on that defense or anything that they absolutely have to fill. My one question with them is at left tackle. I know they signed a right tackle, but once again, my question for them will be left tackle. And out of the guys,
didn't they? Aaron Series.
I don't know who he was, but of course, if you watched him play, it looked like it was a struggle. And actually, if I were them, I would actually probably be, reaching out to Trent Williams to see if he could, give us a season or 2 out there. But regardless, looking at what's left on the board and looking at what's available, let me see. So is that the kid from Utah? Does he play left tackle or right tackle? Which one? I'm trying to see which one of these guys could play left tackle.
Look at their tackles.
Yeah,
probably be Blake Miller.
Blake. Yeah, I think it would be Blake Miller.
Played right tackle. Actually, most of the snaps are at right tackle.
Yeah,
he played a little at left tackle in 2024, but mostly right tackle.
Yeah, and I think that's the case with a lot of the guys on the board. But of course, you'll have to be versatile. Yeah. Another right tackle with Max as well.
He might
play left tackle.
Yeah, I think that's who they'll go with. Is the kid from Utah, and obviously, it depends on out of them 3 which one could probably hold on their best at left tackle, because they signed a pretty solid right tackle in free agency. So I'm going to go with the kid from Utah, Caleb. I think it's Lamu.
Yep.
Lamu.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So let's try to keep CJ Stroud upright.
Yeah,
indeed. Okay. All right, good stuff. So the Chiefs are up next again at pick 29, and we went. What do we do at early pick? We
Downs.
We took Downs with the first pick. So what do they do with the second pick? Let's see here. Yeah. Who do I like here? Yeah, wide receiver is a conversation. Although Xavier
Yeah.
Ward is your resident slot. Anybody else not really a first round grade here. Interior D line. That's a good one. And the last one would be corner. All righty. Yes. So yeah, I think I could go Caleb Banks or Colton Hood here. But the fact that they need to replace Trent McDuffie, obviously, with their a cornerback room being very thin, I'm going to go with their best and biggest need and go with Colton Hood at 29 and solidify that secondary room. So we're going to pair him up with Caleb Downs and Colton Hood and get that secondary right in Kansas City with their pick at 29. So what say you, AG? How you feel about that?
I don't hate it. I would have preferred Caleb Banks, but that's just me.
Okay. Okay.
I think they are definitely going to draft some corners, but I think they'll do that later because they've shown that they could develop guys and
That's
get
true.
everything out of them. So
Yep.
I would imagine they probably have one or two guys in mind, and if they're there, great. If not, they probably pivot elsewhere and try to do that day two. But I'm not mad at Colton Hood either. I mean, that's a hell of an upgrade for the defense in the first round, so I'll take that for sure.
Hood and Downs in the secondary. I think Spagnuolo would definitely be giddy with those two in his defense. So yeah, I like that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, AG. So what did the Dolphins do at 30?
Yeah. Who did we take? Who did we take the first? I was trying to remember.
Let's see. We took David Bailey, edge
Mr.
rusher.
Bailey. All right.
Mr. Bailey. So yes.
Well,
who's buzzing? Like a plane was going over.
someone a moped drove by. It sounded like a go-kart. A weed eater, maybe. I don't know.
Something. Okay.
All right, so we already solidified the edge.
Well,
you kind of take, for the team in a full rebuild, we added a piece to build around off the edge. All the wide receivers are gone, outside of Mr. whatever Concepcion, however you say his name.
AC Concepcion.
I think I'm gonna just take best available for a team in total dumpster fire here, and I'm going to take CJ Allen.
All right,
give them a linebacker to with their new defensive-minded head coach, build that unit around, and whenever they find their guy of the future, have a good supporting cast.
All right, I like it. All right, RG. So, what is your I guess you can say your hot take of meteorized team that you called in 2025, the Patriots? What do they do? In Drake May's third year, in Vrabel's second year, in almost winning the Super Bowl, making the Super Bowl, but not quite getting the job done. What do they do to bolster their roster for 2026?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple here. And for once, PFF got it right. I think their biggest need is tackle. Pair someone opposite of Will Campbell, who, had some struggles at left tackle himself. But I think, with time and obviously played well enough. They got to the damn Super Bowl. So, he did enough. You can't say much about that. So I think they go opposite. And this board also fell kind of really well into their favor. I think they go Blake Howell here, the right tackle out of Clemson. I just think it's perfect. I think if the board falls this way, they have a ton of picks already in this draft. I think they have like 11 draft picks total. So really no incentive to trade back here unless maybe a team blows you away, with an amazing offer to try to get a 5th round option out of somebody. I just think that they stay pat, pun intended, and go with the right tackle here, Blake Miller.
I like it. Good stuff. All righty. So, all right, Dub. So round it out for us, man. Bring us home. So what do the Seahawks do, defending champs do, to replace some of the guys they lost in free agency and build this roster out for 2026?
Yeah, I think this is another case where, it's just a luxury pick for them. I think at this position, you probably can't go wrong. I guess based on go to linebackers real quick for me. I mean, Rodriguez is intriguing. I think outside of Ernest Jones, I'm not sure, what they got going on at linebacker.
Not much.
Yeah, and this is a luxury pick for them. I see edge is another thing that they're thinking about. So it's probably between Cassius Howell, I would say, and Jacob Rodriguez. I think Cassius Howell is probably the higher value pick at that point. So I say, yeah, let's go Cassius Howell.
There it is. All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
Cassius Howell goes at 32. And here's the board. So we got Fernando Mendoza going at 1, Alvaro Reese at 2, Francis Muaga going at 3 to the Cardinals, Jeremiah Love going to the Titans at 4, Sonny Styles going to the Giants at 5, Spencer Fano going to the Browns at 6, Mansour Delane going to the Commanders at 7, Cardinal Tate going to the Saints at 8, Caleb Downs going to the Chiefs at 9, Ruben Bain going to the Bengals at 10, David Bailey going to the Dolphins at 11, Jermon McCoy going to the Cowboys at 12, 13, Makai Lemon, 14 to the Rams, Jordan Tyson going to the Ravens to get them a number 1 receiver at 14 finally, Akeem Mesidor to the Buccaneers at 15, Avion Terrell to the Jets at 16, the Sauce Gardner replacement, and Monroe Freeland goes to the Rams, not the Rams but the Lions. They actually the Rams going to bring up that they're going to take him, but they're going to the Twa to replace Taylor Deckard, Dylan Thieleman to the Vikings to replace Harrison Smith, Kenyon Sadiq going to the Panthers to give Bryce Young another weapon. The shocker pick of the night, Jerry Jones picks Anthony Hill at 20 at linebacker. Ty Simpson goes to the Steelers at 21. Vega Awano goes to the Chargers at 22. Emmanuel McNeil Warren goes to the Eagles at 23. Denzel Boston to the Browns at 24. Keldrick Falk goes to the Bears at 25. Omar Cooper Jr. goes to the Bills at 26. Cade Proctor goes to the San Francisco 49ers at 27. Hopefully he can stay away from that substation. 28, they get the Texans revamp their O-line completely and get a tackle, Caleb Lemieux. Colton Hood goes to the Chiefs at 29. CJ Allen goes to the Dolphins at 30. Blake Millen goes to the Patriots at 31. And Cassius Howell rounds out the first round at 32, going to the Super Bowl champions, Seattle Seahawks. So, boom. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our full board. And after the video comes out, we'll post this on social media so everybody can see it. But yes, great draft, gentlemen. That was definitely a good one. We definitely did the damn thing there for sure. So yes, so we are going to be dropping a lot of content here. This is our first mock draft of the cycle. We're going to be doing it 2 weeks from Tuesday of yesterday when this video drops on Wednesday. The Tuesday before the draft, we're going to be doing a live mock draft. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll definitely advertise that on social media. We're going to be doing our live draft show the night of the draft like we did last year. We had a really good turnout for that, so we expect that and more this year. Hopefully we can get some special guests on the show. I'm going to working that in the pipeline as well to get that done. So we'll be live and direct for the first round of the draft on Thursday night, the 24th. So look out for that, as well as all our coverage for my NFL insiders leading up to the NFL draft. So there's going to be a lot of love on the Lockdown Defense Sports Network for sure. So gentlemen, any final words before we get up out of here and get people salivating at our draft picks?
Enjoy it, y'all. Once this draft is over, it's going to be a long off season until football starts back up again.
It really is. It really is. So
All I'd say is I'd give all of us a GM job. That's for sure.
That's for sure. We definitely can do a lot better than the likes of Joe Shane and whoever the hell is running things in the Jets. So yeah.
We don't even know.
Right. Definitely that. So yes. All right, man. So that's gonna do it for us. The Hit Squad is out of here, man. Like I said, we'll be back with more content throughout the week. So drop a subscription on the YouTube channel. Hit it up to Patreon. It is definitely available to you. Again, QR code in the upper left-hand part of your screen if you're facing it. So yeah, so hit us up there. Hit us up on social media. And always, man, you got to do one thing and one thing well. You got to step up. So lock it down.